In this unit, we're going to take a look at data relationships. It'll be a fairly short and quick one. We're not going to cover everything contained with the textbook sections. I believe we skip one and then we kind of condense a little bit. The kind of the key things here is to take a look at things like graphing and just get an introduction to introductory look to graphing, some of the key things with graphing, and just how data kind of works together in some ways. In terms of graphing, what we're looking at is when we have a graph, the points on a graph are listed as ordered pairs, and that's the proper terminology. So when we list those, we see them in an ordered pair fashion. We use the XY notation, so we'll write them XY notation. We use the letters XY to represent the two axes. Y shows the position, so when we say the point names, X means the horizontal position and Y means the vertical position. On our graph here, we would normally label this X, this Y. These could be labeled differently. It could be time and distance. It could be liters and dollars. It could be any units that we're using, but just the general idea is that the horizontal axis, if we refer to the x-axis, we're referring to the horizontal axis. If we refer to the y-axis, we're referring to this vertical axis. So if we're going to plot these points on the graph here, we have -3, 2 as our first point. And so that point is at -3 on the x-axis. So I don't have every value marked, but I do have -2, -4. So it's going to be in between here. And then it's at -3 and 2. So we look to where those two values match. And we put a point. We do not put a point at -3. We do not put a point at 2. We put a point where those two values meet. So we're actually putting them at the intersection of this horizontal, or this horizontal and this vertical value. And so we match those up. So the next one is 0 and 6. We match those up. We're 0 on the x-axis, so we move 0 and then up to 6 on the y-axis. And so we have a point right here at 0 and 6. And then we have 3 and -1, or sorry, 3 and +1. So we go over to 3 here and up to 1 here. That'd be right in between all the lines. And then we have -4 and -4. And that would go here. And so if we take a look at these points, we have them all listed here. We can often do a little extra and label the points if we need to. So if we are going to label them, we would write out -3 and 2 like that, 0 and 6 like that, 3 and 1 like that, and -4 like that. So you put the labels on there as well if you want to. You do not have to put the labels on there though, because our graph is, the axes are labeled. We can just take that point and find out where it meets. It's probably more valuable to label if we don't have easy to find values, like if we had 0.75 and 2. 0.75 is somewhere around here. We can't be exact, so then we might want to label the value. It would be maybe right here, and so we want to differentiate that from the 1. I don't know where I was going with this question, so let's just scratch off where would the next point be. Here. So we have some points scattered around the graph, and that's the basics of plotting points. We've talked about percent before. Sometimes we want to take a look at the percent change. So how much is something changed as a percentage? It's gone up by 40%, it's gone down by 30%, things like that. So we can do that by taking the first number, the old number, and subtracting that number from the new number. And then we divide our first number by 100, by the first number multiplied by 100, so we convert it. So I'll show you here. we have $3.76, which increased to $4.15. What was the percentage change? We do 3.76. Subtract that from the $4.15. $4.15 minus 3.76. And so that's going to give us $0.39. So it's increased by 39 cents. And then to find the percentage, we'll take our 39 cents and divide it by the original value. So 0.39 divided by 3.76 is going to give us 0.1037. And if we convert that to a percentage, we would multiply it by 100, move the decimal place over 1, 2 here. What we'd get is 10.37%. So there's a 10.37% increase. In this case here, in part B, we're going down from 497. We're decreasing to 248. So again, same process. Take our new value, subtract the old value. So 248 minus 497 is going to give us a decrease of 249. It's about 50%, I can tell right away, because those numbers are very similar. But again, to formalize that, we got negative 249 divided by 497. And that is going to give us negative 0.501, or negative 50.1%. And so the negative sign stays there and notes that we've actually decreased in percentage. There's also a little bit of questioning with just reading a graph in the practice problems, and then just estimating some measurement, but I think you guys should be okay with those.